My daughter pushed me down the stairs during a family dinner hissing, "Move faster. Don't embarrass me in front of my real parents." She was talking about her in-laws and I fell, hit my head, and no one helped me. But when my daughter woke up the next morning, 66 missed calls. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you were listening in the comments. The crystal wine glasses I'd spent an hour polishing caught the afternoon light, as Della walked past them without a glance. She adjusted the collar of her silk blouse, the one that probably cost more than my monthly utilities, and turned to Patricia Morrison with a smile I didn't recognize. "Mother Patricia, you simply must see the upstairs sometime. Neil and I are thinking of buying something similar in Westlake Hills, though obviously much larger." She laughed, a sound like breaking ice. I stood in my own kitchen, tongs in hand, watching my daughter erase me. 3 days I'd spent preparing this anniversary dinner: prime rib, roasted vegetables, the twice-baked potatoes Della used to beg me to make when she was 12, before her mother died, before Neil, before I became someone who needed to be explained away. "Dad's just a simple man," Della said, catching Patricia's glance toward the modest dining room. "He doesn't really understand presentation." Richard Morrison loosened his tie, his Rolex catching light as he reached for the bourbon I'd set out. "Good bourbon, the kind I save for special occasions." He poured without asking, settling into the chair at the head of my table, my chair. I said nothing. What could I say? That I'd taught literature at the community college for 30 years. That this house in Hyde Park with its creaking stairs and original hardwood floors meant more to me than any mansion in Westlake. That my daughter once loved this place. Neil appeared beside Della, his hand on her waist, possessive. He surveyed my kitchen with the eye of someone pricing real estate. "Great neighborhood. These old houses are sitting on gold mines." "Location, location, location." "Exactly," Della said, "though of course the house itself is quite dated. Dated. The house where she grew up, where her mother and I painted her bedroom pale yellow because she said it looked like sunshine, where we'd celebrated every birthday, every achievement, every milestone." I turned back to the stove. The prime rib needed another 10 minutes. My hands shook slightly as I basted it, a tremor I'd developed in the past year. "Age," the doctor said, "just age." "Dinner in 15 minutes, I announced, keeping my voice steady. The dining room filled with conversation that didn't include me. Patricia discussed their recent trip to Tuscany. Richard mentioned their new lake house. Della soaked it up, laughing too loud, agreeing too eagerly, performing. Neil caught my eye once. His expression held calculation, assessment, the look of a man determining value. I saw the verdict. Not much, not enough to matter. I set down plates, poured wine, arranged everything the way I'd planned. The table looked beautiful. The food smelled perfect. No one noticed. "This is lovely, Columbus," Patricia said, her tone suggesting surprise that someone like me could manage lovely. "Dad's always been good with his hands," Della said. "Basic stuff. Basic. Teaching, cooking, raising her alone after her mother died. All basic." Richard carved the prime rib with my knife, serving Patricia first, then Della and Neil, finally himself. I waited, still standing, until he remembered me. "Oh, sorry, Columbus, here." The meat on my plate was the smallest portion, an edge piece. I sat in the chair beside mine, the one that had always been mine until today. Conversation flowed around me: business deals, investment properties, people they knew in Dallas. Della contributed eagerly, name-dropping, laughing, glowing. This was the audience she'd always wanted. The Morrisons represented everything she thought she deserved. Old money, social standing, the kind of family that didn't have to prove anything because everyone already knew who they were. "Your mother would be proud," I said quietly to Della, unable to stop myself. The table went silent. Della's fork paused halfway to her mouth. Neil's hand tightened on his wine glass. Patricia looked at her plate. "Actually," Della said, each word sharp, "Mom would have understood that I've grown beyond this neighborhood. She would have wanted me to have better. Better than me, better than us, better than the life we'd built together, the three of us, before the illness took her." "Your mother loved this house," I said. "She settled," Della replied. "Don't project your limitations onto her memory." Neil nodded. Richard cleared his throat. Patricia examined her manicure. No one defended me. No one suggested that maybe, just maybe, Della was being cruel. I stood. I need to get the dessert plates from upstairs. We have plates right here, Della said, the special ones from your mother's collection. I walked away before she could argue, before anyone could see the wetness in my eyes. The stairs creaked under my weight, familiar sounds, home sounds. I reached the landing, opened the cabinet where Susan's china remained carefully stored. Della's footsteps followed, fast, angry. "What are you doing?" she hissed. "Getting plates. I don't want those old plates. I want this dinner to go smoothly. I want them to see that Neil married into a respectable family, not," she gestured at me, "at the house, at everything. Not what? Not this. Not a widower in an old house cooking his own meals, not someone so small." I turned to face her, my daughter. Della Marie Gibson, named after Susan's grandmother. The child I'd rocked through nightmares, taught to ride a bike, sent to college. The person looking at me now with contempt. "Move faster," she said. "Don't embarrass me in front of my real parents." The words hit like a fist. Real parents. "Move," she repeated and pushed. Not hard. She'd probably say that later, just a push, just impatience. But I was at the top of the stairs, holding china plates, my balance already uncertain. The railing slipped past my grasping hand. The plates flew. I tumbled. Each step caught a different part of me. Shoulder, hip, ribs, the sounds merged. China shattering, bones impacting wood, my own gasping breaths. The bottom came fast. My head struck the floor and the world burst into white pain. Warmth spread beneath my skull. Blood. I could feel it pooling, sticky and dark. Above me, faces appeared over the second floor railing. Della, Patricia, Richard, Neil, looking down, just looking. "He's drunk again," Della said. "I told you he had a problem." I wasn't drunk. I'd had one glass of wine, but no one corrected her. No one came down to help. The pain was enormous, but the realization was worse. My daughter had just attacked me, and every person in this house was going to let her get away with it. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Pain made time meaningless. I remained on the floor, the warmth beneath my head spreading, my vision swimming. Above, fragments of urgent whispers drifted down. "We should go," Patricia's voice tight. "Just help me get him to his room," Della said. "He'll sleep it off." Neil's voice colder. "We need to think about how this looks." I closed my eyes. The fall replayed behind my eyelids. The push, her words, real parents. The contempt in her face as I tumbled backward, helpless. Footsteps on the stairs. Della appeared beside me, Neil behind her. Her expression arranged itself into concern, a mask I could see through now. "Dad, let's get you cleaned up. You've had too much to drink, let's just get you to bed." She reached for my arm, I pulled away. The movement sent fresh pain through my skull, but clarity came with it, sharp, cold clarity. This wasn't an accident I could explain away. This wasn't a misunderstanding. My daughter had pushed me down the stairs because I embarrassed her, and she was going to pretend it never happened. My phone. I felt for it in my pocket, fingers clumsy but determined, still there. The screen cracked but functional. "Dad, you don't need." Della saw what I was doing. Her voice changed. "Dad, put the phone down. Let's just handle this as a family." I pulled the phone away from her reaching hand, tapped the screen. 911. "Dad, no." Real fear in her voice now. "Dad, please, we can talk about this." The call connected. A woman's voice, professional and calm. 911, what's your emergency?" "I need police and ambulance," I said. My voice sounded strange, thicker than usual. "I've been assaulted by a family member. I'm injured, bleeding from the head. There are witnesses." "Sir, what is your location?" I gave my address clearly, slowly, each word deliberate. Della's face had gone white. Neil grabbed her arm, whispered something rapid. Above, I heard the front door open and close. The Morrisons leaving, running, they'd seen enough. "Sir, can you tell me what happened?" the operator asked. "My daughter pushed me down the stairs during a family gathering. I hit my head. I'm 64 years old. I need medical attention. Officers and paramedics are being dispatched. Stay on the line. Can you remain still?" "Yes." "Is the person who assaulted you still present?" "Yes." "She's trying to take the phone." Della backed away from me. Neil's calculation had shifted to panic. He pulled out his own phone, typing rapidly. Damage control. That's what he was doing, figuring out how to spin this. "Dad, you're making a mistake," he said. "This will destroy Della's reputation. Do you understand what you're doing? I understood perfectly. For the first time in months, maybe years, I understood with absolute clarity. Paramedics are approximately 23 minutes away, the operator said. Police are closer, about 15 minutes. Are you in immediate danger? No, they're standing back now. Good, I'm going to stay on the line with you. What's your name, sir? Columbus Gibson. Columbus, I need you to try not to move your head. Can you see the blood? I can feel it. Okay, help is coming. You're doing great. Della paced, her heels clicking on my hardwood floors. She'd taken off her mask entirely now. This was someone I didn't know, someone I'd never known, or maybe someone I'd refused to see. This is insane, she said to Neil. He's ruining everything. Not is he okay, not I didn't mean to, just concern about herself. The 23 minutes stretched like hours. Pain pulsed through my skull in waves. The operator asked me questions, testing cognitive function. I realized. Day of the week, current president, my daughter's name. I answered each one clearly. Sirens finally cut through the evening air. Red and blue lights flashed through my windows. Della's pacing stopped. Let me talk to them first, Neil said. No, I said. The operator was still on the line. Please tell the officers I don't want them to speak to my daughter without documenting the scene first. I'll relay that, the operator said. The front door opened. Heavy footsteps. Officer Sarah Domings entered, her partner behind her. Professional quick assessment of the scene. She saw me on the floor, the blood, then looked up at Della and Neil. Paramedics are right behind us, she said to me, then to her partner, get photos, document everything. The partner moved, camera clicking. Della started to speak, but Officer Domings held up a hand. In a moment, let me assess the situation first. She crouched beside me, careful not to disturb anything. Columbus, I'm Officer Domings. Can you tell me what happened? I told her, factually clinical. The dinner, the push, the fall, the words Della had said. Officer Domings listened, taking notes. Her expression neutral, but her eyes sharp. The paramedics arrived, two efficient professionals who began checking my vitals immediately. Officer Domings stood, turned to Della. Your name, ma'am? Della Morrison. I'm his daughter. This is my husband, Neil. Officer, my father has been drinking. He fell. He's confused. Officer Domings looked at me, leaned close, sniffed. I don't smell alcohol. She turned back to Della. You're saying he fell? Yes, he's elderly. He's unsteady. Ma'am, I'm going to need to take statements from everyone separately. And I'm going to need to photograph those stairs. Neil stepped forward, charm turned on like a spotlight. Officer, I'm sure we can resolve this without no, sir. Officer Domings's voice held no room for negotiation. We have a report of assault with injury. This is being documented. The paramedics worked around the conversation, stabilizing my neck, checking my pupils, murmuring about concussion protocol. Their care felt almost shocking after the coldness of my family. We're taking you to Del Seaton, one paramedic said. You've got a significant head injury. Need to get you checked out properly. They loaded me onto a gurney, the ceiling passed above me, then the night sky. The ambulance doors closed and suddenly it was quiet except for the equipment beeping. Columbus, I'm Rick, the paramedic said. I need to ask you some questions, okay? What year is it? 2025. Good, who's the president? I answered. He asked more questions, checking my responses, my reactions. The sirens wailed. Austin passed by outside, invisible. Del Seaton's emergency room blazed with fluorescent light. Nurses, doctors, efficient movement. Someone cleaned the blood from my hair, asked about allergies, inserted an IV. A doctor examined my eyes, ordered scans. Concussion, she confirmed an hour later. We're admitting you for observation. You're going to have a significant headache for a few days. Any dizziness, nausea, vision changes, you tell the nurses immediately. They settled me in a room, private, quiet. A nurse checked my vitals, adjusted my pillow, told me to rest. The door closed. I was alone. My phone sat on the bedside table, cracked screen but working. At 8:47 it lit up. Della calling. I watched it ring, didn't answer. At 9:15 again, 9:33, 10:02. Each time I watched the screen glow, watched her name appear, let it go to voicemail. Texts arrived between calls. Dad, please, we need to talk. This is crazy. You're ruining everything, ruining everything. Not "I'm sorry," not "Are you okay," just concern about what I was ruining for her. The calls continued through the night. Nurses came and went, checking my pupils, asking questions, making sure I was stable. Each time I started to drift toward sleep, my phone would light up again. Della, Della, Della. By midnight, 23 missed calls. By 2:00 in the morning, 41. By dawn, 66. 66 times my daughter called, not once did I answer. Morning light filtered through the hospital blinds, pale and new. I scrolled through the call log, watching the progression. The first calls had come in clusters of 2 or 3 with texts between, desperate, pleading, then longer gaps, angrier texts. Then in the pre-dawn hours, a frantic barrage. Every few minutes. She was panicking. I read the texts chronologically. The evolution was clear. She wasn't sorry she'd hurt me. She was sorry I'd called the police. She wasn't worried about my concussion. She was worried about her reputation. The sun rose over Austin, warming the window glass. I turned off my phone completely, the screen going dark with a satisfying finality. For 64 years, I've been a man who forgave, who understood, who gave second chances. That man died on the stairs last night. The person lying in this hospital bed was someone new, someone who would make sure justice mattered more than blood. The morning nurse brought breakfast I couldn't eat. My stomach felt hollow, but not from hunger. Through the hospital room window, Austin stretched out under clear March sky, indifferent to everything that had shattered inside these walls. I turned my phone back on. Messages flooded in, timestamps telling their own story. Della's texts grew more frantic through the night, then angrier, then pleading again. I deleted them without reading past the first few words. Around noon, a different nurse appeared, younger, uncertain expression. "Mr. Gibson, your daughter is here. She'd like to see you." The reflexive yes nearly escaped. Years of being a father, of opening doors, of forgiveness. I caught it. "Tell her I need time." The nurse nodded, relieved to have a clear answer. She disappeared, returned minutes later. "She's very upset. She says it's important." I'm sure she does. Through the closed door, I heard Della's voice in the corridor, high-pitched, desperate. Fragments reached me. "Just 5 minutes. My father misunderstanding." The nurse's lower tones, firm but professional. Then Della's footsteps, sharp and angry, retreating. I lay back. Felt nothing where concern used to live. The next day brought both of them. Neil's voice joined Della's, calmer, using logic like a weapon. The nurse came in first. "Your daughter and her husband are asking to visit. They say you need to discuss what happened." I wrote on the notepad beside my bed. "Tell them no." Same answer as yesterday. Handed it to her. She read it, met my eyes, understood something. "I'll let them know." This time Neil tried reasoning through the door. I heard him clearly, probably wanted me to. "Columbus, we need to handle this properly. Let's talk like adults," as if I were the child. As if he hadn't stood watching while I bled on my own floor. On the third day, Della came alone. I heard her crying in the corridor, genuine sobs that might have moved me once. She begged the nurses, promised she just needed to see I was all right, swore she was sorry. I listened to my daughter weep and felt the emptiness where love had been. Not hatred, not even anger anymore, just absence. The nurses never forced it. They sensed what words didn't say. A family broken in ways that mattered. By the fourth morning, Dr. Ray has cleared me. Concussions resolving well. "You'll have headaches for a while, dizziness when you move too quickly. Rest is critical." She handed me discharge papers. "Any questions? When can I leave?" "Whenever you're ready. You have someone to drive you. I'll arrange something." I dressed slowly, each movement careful. Called a ride service, gathered my belongings, cracked phone, wallet, keys, and most importantly, the folder of documents. Police report, medical records, proof of what happened, documented and official. Outside, the world continued. Traffic moved, people walked. The sun felt too bright after days of fluorescent lighting. Downtown Austin passed through the car window. Congress Avenue stretched ahead, and I'd already made the call yesterday. Marcus Chen's office, second floor of a renovated building near the Capitol. Real estate and estate planning, the website said. 5-star reviews, Taiwanese American, 52, established practice. I'd researched thoroughly during the hospital nights when sleep wouldn't come. The building stairs challenged me. Dizzy halfway up, I stopped, steadied myself. The receptionist noticed, offered help. I waved her off, needed to do this myself. Marcus Chen's waiting room felt professional. Clean lines, leather chairs, organized calm. I sat with my folder, checking my watch exactly on time. Mr. Gibson. Marcus emerged from an inner office, extended his hand. Firm grip, assessing eyes that saw more than they asked. Come in. His office held degrees on walls, family photos on the desk. He gestured to a comfortable chair, sat across from me rather than behind the desk. Small choice that mattered. You mentioned assault on the phone, he said. Tell me what happened. I walked him through it. Factual, clinical, the dinner, the push, the fall, the aftermath. Handed him the police report. He read carefully, taking notes. This is documented assault, he said finally. Clear case. What do you need from me? I need to protect my assets. My daughter attacked me. I believe she wants my house. Marcus leaned back. Tell me about your relationship with her. Do they live with you? No, they have their own place, but they have keys to my house. What assets are we discussing? The house, worth approximately $380,000. Pension savings, about $120,000. I'm the sole owner, bought it 15 years ago. Marcus made notes. Texas property law is clear. As sole owner, you have full control. But you're concerned about future claims. I'm concerned about what happens to my estate. Have you considered a living trust? Explain it. He did, thoroughly. How an irrevocable trust would transfer the house legally while allowing me lifetime residence. How it would protect assets from claims. How beneficiary designation would be permanent, unchangeable even by me once established. Are you certain about making it irrevocable? He asked. That's permanent, I'm certain. Who would you designate as beneficiary? Not my daughter, he nodded slowly. You have that right, but I should mention, if you're considering this because of family conflict, we need to ensure your decision-making capacity is clear. The concussion was 4 days ago. I'm thinking clearly, probably more clearly than I have in years. Marcus studied me, then nodded. All right. How quickly do you want this done? As fast as legally possible. 2 weeks if we move efficiently. He paused. Mr. Gibson, I should tell you something. My wife knows Patricia Morrison socially. There's been talk. My attention sharpened despite the headache building behind my eyes. What kind of talk? For the past year, maybe 2, your daughter's been saying she manages your house, that it's family property, that she takes care of the old man. He watched my reaction. I'm telling you this so you understand. They may believe they have some claim. The betrayal layered deeper. Not just the push, years of preparation. They have no claim. The house is mine. I know, but perception creates problems. We need to make your ownership absolutely clear. He stood. Let me check something. When did you last review your will? 3 years ago, maybe. It's with my documents at home. Don't go home yet. Let's verify your current estate documents first. He made a call. The notary's office 2 blocks away could pull records immediately. We walked together, Marcus adjusting his pace to mine. The headache pulsed, but I pushed through. The notary's office smelled of paper and official business. The notary, an older woman with reading glasses on a chain, pulled my file efficiently. Here we are, Gibson Columbus, dated March 2022. She set it on the counter, then frowned. Oh, there was a recent inquiry about this. What kind of inquiry? Marcus asked. She checked her notation log. January 15, 2025. Someone requested will modification, wanted to change beneficiary designation. She looked up. But it required your signature, and in-person notarization, Mr. Gibson, was never completed. January, 2 months ago. I never authorized any modification. That's why we require in-person verification, the notary said. Someone had access to your documents, but we can't notarize without the principal present. Marcus and I exchanged looks. Della had been in my house, had gone through my papers, had tried to change my will to benefit herself, but couldn't forge the notarization. This supports everything, Marcus said quietly. She's been planning this. Outside, I had to sit on a bench. The exhaustion combined with revelation made my head swim. Marcus sat beside me, patient. She tried to steal my house before she pushed me down the stairs, I said. Yes. The scope of it crystallized. Months of manipulation. Lies told to the Morrisons, to their social circle. Attempted document forgery. Then when that failed, the push. Get rid of the old man faster. What do you want to do? Marcus asked. Create the trust, make it ironclad. I want everything documented so thoroughly that no court could ever question it. I'll start immediately. Meanwhile, you need to do something when you go home. Change the locks. Change the locks, he confirmed. We sat there, two men in professional clothes on a downtown bench, planning how to protect me from my own daughter. The spring afternoon felt cold despite the warmth. The ride home felt longer than it was. Late afternoon sun slanted through Austin streets, familiar neighborhoods passing outside the window. My house appeared ahead, two-story craftsman I'd loved for 15 years. Now it looked different, vulnerable. Inside, everything sat exactly as I'd left it, dishes still in the sink from preparing that dinner. The dining room table still set, though someone had cleared the plates, probably the police documenting the scene. Photos of Della lined the hallway. Graduations, wedding, happier times that felt like lies now. I stood in my own home feeling like an intruder. The keys in my hand suddenly felt wrong. Della had copies. Neil had copies. They could walk in any time. I pulled out my phone, searched for locksmiths with same-day service. 90 minutes later, a van pulled up. The locksmith, a capable woman named Rosa, assessed all entry points. Front door, back door, side entrance, garage. Good quality locks, she said. You want the same grade, better. She worked efficiently, the mechanical sounds oddly comforting. Metal sliding, bolts clicking into place, keys being cut. Had a break-in, she asked, preventing one. New keys emerged, still warm from the cutting machine. Only one set, only for me. While she worked, I walked through the house strategically. What would Della try to claim? What proved this was mine? Deed filed in my name alone, mortgage paid off, utility bills under my name, tax records, everything documented, everything clear. The locksmith finished, handed me an invoice. I paid, watched her drive away. Then stood at my front door, testing the new lock. Solid, secure. My phone rang. Della. I considered ignoring it, but answered. Dad. Her voice dripped artificial sweetness. We need to talk. This has gone too far. It was an accident. Cold calm settled over me. It wasn't an accident. You pushed me. I have witnesses. You're making this into something it's not. We're family. Family doesn't attack each other. Her tactics shifted. Guilt. What would Mom think about this, about you shutting me out? Your mother would be ashamed. Silence stretched. Then I need to come by, get some things I left there. No, it's my house too. She caught herself, but too late. No, it's not. It never was. You can't keep me out. I've changed the locks. Don't try to come here. I hung up, sat on my couch, trembling slightly. Not from fear, from adrenaline, from finally saying what needed saying. The new keys lay on the coffee table, catching evening light. The next morning, I ordered security cameras. I'd researched during those hospital nights, comparing systems. Ring doorbell camera plus 2 indoor cameras. Quick delivery promised. Installation day. I opened the boxes carefully. Technology had never been my strength, but I needed to do this myself. Needed the control. Doorbell camera at the front entrance took an hour. My hands uncertain with the small screws, the mounting bracket. Dizziness came in waves when I looked up too quickly, but I pushed through. Living room camera positioned to view the stairs. Symbolic maybe, but also practical. Backdoor camera last. Easier now that I understood the system. Testing it brought unexpected satisfaction. My phone showed my own house multiple angles, recording to the cloud, accessible anywhere. If Della tried to come now, I'd have footage, evidence, protection. Over the following week, I researched. Information was power. I started with Neil, typing his name into search engines along with business and Austin. Morrison Auto Sales LLC appeared in business registrations, separate from his family's established dealerships. The license dated back 18 months. Local business news mentioned the opening briefly. New luxury used car dealership in a competitive area south of downtown. But no recent news, no success stories, nothing. I called Marcus. Can you find out about someone's business debts? There are ways. Why? My son-in-law, I want to know what he needs money for. Business filings are public record in Texas. I'll make some inquiries. 3 days later, Marcus called back. Your son-in-law is in trouble, he explained. Business incorporated with 150,000 initial capital from Neil's personal funds. Additional commercial loan of 85,000 secured by personal guarantee. The dealership opened in an oversaturated market hadn't performed to projections. Loan payment coming due by end of May. He needs cash, Marcus said. Badly. Understanding clicked into place. And he thought my house could help. Probably counted on inheriting it or using it as collateral somehow. That's why Della pushed me. They're desperate. Desperation makes people dangerous, Marcus said, which is why we're moving fast on this trust. Early April brought the meeting I'd been waiting for. Marcus's office again, this time with completed documents spread across his desk. The Irrevocable Living Trust, printed and organized with colored tabs marking signature pages. Once you sign, Marcus said, even you can't change this. Let me explain again. I listened as he walked through each provision. The house would transfer to the trust. I'd remain trustee during my lifetime with full rights to live there, but legally I'd no longer own it. The trust would. After my death, the trust terms were fixed. House must be sold, proceeds going to the designated beneficiary. The Texas Advocacy Project, I said. They help assault victims. Your choice is appropriate. Marcus indicated each document. Trust declaration, property deed amendment, beneficiary designation. He paused at one page. This provision explicitly excludes your daughter from any benefit. She tried to change my will. She assaulted me. She's excluded. This is legally binding. Once recorded with Travis County, it's permanent. Are you absolutely certain? I thought of the push, the lies, the attempted forgery, the years of manipulation I'd been too blind to see. I'm certain. My signature went on each page, Marcus notarizing with official stamps. The sound of the seal pressing into paper felt final, irrevocable. I'll file these with the county recorder tomorrow, Marcus said. Within a week, the trust will be officially registered. And Della, she has no legal claim to your estate. None. I carried the documents home in their folder, placed them in my safe. New locks secured the doors. Security cameras watched the entrances. Legal protections wrapped around my assets like armor. Evening settled over Austin, warm and ordinary. I made simple dinner, carried it to the back porch. Crickets sang, traffic hummed in the distance. The world continued, indifferent to personal catastrophes. My phone sat silent beside me. Della had stopped calling after the locks changed. The sudden quiet felt ominous rather than peaceful. She was regrouping, planning. This wasn't over. I looked at my house through the screen door, truly mine now, protected but also emptier than it had ever been. The price of justice was loneliness. I was learning. I didn't regret it. Stars emerged as dusk deepened. I sat there watching them, thinking about what came next. Della wouldn't accept this quietly. Neither would Neil, not with 85,000 in debt hanging over them. They'd try something else. I was ready. May brought heat and silence. The month passed with ordinary rhythms. Grocery shopping, yard work, evenings on the porch watching Austin's sky fade from blue to purple. My headaches had vanished, the dizziness gone. Physically, I'd recovered completely. The cameras recorded nothing but delivery trucks and neighbors walking dogs. No Della, no Neil. The quiet felt deliberate, like held breath before a scream. Neil's loan payment deadline approached. End of May, Marcus had said. I marked it on my calendar, waited. Saturday afternoon, early May, I was pruning the front hedges when my phone chimed. Motion detected. I pulled it from my pocket, checked the camera feed. Expensive sedan pulling to the curb, two people emerging. Della in designer sunglasses, Neil in pressed slacks and polo shirt, dressed for negotiation. I set down the pruning shears, walked to my front door. Didn't open it. Watched through the window as they approached. The doorbell rang, camera recording everything. I opened the door, stepped onto the porch, pulled it closed behind me, left them standing on the walkway, said nothing first. Della tried casual surprise. Dad, we need to talk. About what? You changed the locks. You won't return my calls. This is ridiculous. Neil moved forward, positioning himself beside her. United front. Family, this needs to stop. I didn't invite you here. Della's composure cracked slightly. This is my childhood home. You can't lock me out. This is my home. I can lock out anyone I choose. Neil tried reason, his voice patronizing. We're concerned about you, the incident in March. The assault, I corrected. Call it what it was. Della exploded. It was an accident. You're acting crazy. I was worried about you that day. I watched her rewrite history in real time, studied the performance. She'd practiced this. You're being paranoid, Dad. Her voice shifted to concern. You need help. Maybe since Mom died, you've been struggling. Using Susan as a weapon, my dead wife, as explanation for my supposed instability. I'm perfectly clear that's why you're on my porch, not in my house. Neil changed tactics, speaking slowly as if to a child. Let's be rational. You're reacting inappropriately to a family accident. Your daughter made a mistake, family forgives. She attacked me, then lied to police, then tried to manipulate hospital access. I was scared. Della's voice pitched higher. The police made it seem you told them I was drunk. I wasn't. I panicked. Can't you understand? I understand perfectly. Now leave my property. Not until you hear us out. I've heard enough. Leave. Neil set his jaw. We're not leaving until this is resolved. I reached for my phone. Neil saw the movement, stiffened. What are you doing? Calling police. You're trespassing. You wouldn't dare. I dialed. The operator answered. I began speaking, calm and factual. I need to report trespassing. 2 people refusing to leave my property after being asked. Neil grabbed Della's arm. We should go. She jerked away from him, her face contorting. You'll regret this. I'm your only daughter, your only family. The scream carried down the street. Neighbors would hear. You're a bitter old man. You're destroying our family. I continued, giving my address to the operator, watching Neil physically pull Della toward their car. This isn't over, she shrieked. You can't do this to me. The car doors slammed, engine started. They drove away, Della's face visible through the passenger window, twisted with rage. They've left. I told the operator. Do you want officers to file a report? Note the incident in your system, please. I have video footage. After hanging up, I stood on my porch, slight tremor in my hands, adrenaline, not fear. Inside, I locked the door, opened my laptop. The doorbell camera had captured everything. Della's escalation, Neil's failed manipulation, her final screaming threats. I downloaded the footage, saved it in 3 locations: cloud storage, external drive, email to myself. Hours passed. I tried to settle but couldn't. The confrontation replayed. Della's face, her words, the calculated performance that became genuine rage. Evening brought a knock. Security camera showed a delivery person with clipboard. Certified mail requiring signature. The envelope bore legal letterhead, Brennan and Associates, Austin address. I signed, took it inside, opened it carefully. Formal legal demand on behalf of Della Gibson Morrison and Neil Morrison. My eyes tracked through the accusations. False assault claims, defamation of character, slander, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Columbus Gibson had damaged his daughter's reputation through malicious lies. Demands, formal written apology, public retraction, compensation for emotional harm in the amount of $15,000. Alternative, civil lawsuit would be filed. I read it twice, noted the tactics. Intimidation through legal threat, reversal of victim and perpetrator, financial demand designed to pressure settlement. The irony wasn't lost on me. Today's footage showed them trespassing, harassing, screaming, and they'd sent a legal threat for defamation. I opened my laptop. The security footage sat there, Della's rage frozen mid-scream. I attached it to an email, added the legal letter as a second attachment, typed a message to Marcus Chen. Need meeting Monday morning. Attach today's incident and their legal threat. Will bring police report and medical records. Sent it. Saturday night, but Marcus would see it. He'd know what to do. That night I sat with the letter, reading it again under lamplight. They'd made a tactical error. Every aggressive move they made now created more evidence. Every threat revealed their desperation. I pulled up the security footage one final time before bed, scrolled through it slowly. Della arriving composed, leaving screaming. Neil trying control, then physically restraining his wife. My own calm throughout. Their lawyer had threatened me with a lawsuit, but I had cameras, recordings, documentation, witnesses, medical evidence, police reports. They had desperation and lies. I knew what came next. Not defense, counterattack. Monday morning light slanted through Marcus Chen's office windows. I sat across from him, laptop open between us. He'd already reviewed my weekend email, spent his Sunday preparing. They sent you a demand letter. Marcus tapped the printed copy. Predictable but stupid. Brandon and Associates, small firm. Probably cheapest they could find willing to take this. He pulled up the security footage, watched it through. This is trespassing and harassment on camera, time-stamped, clear audio, perfect. What do we do? Marcus leaned back, fingers steepled. We respond aggressively but legally. He pulled out a folder, documents already organized. First, we answer their demand with facts. He laid them out systematically. Police report from March 15th showing documented assault, medical records totaling $4,200 in emergency treatments and hospitalization, photographs taken at the hospital showing injuries, security footage from Saturday showing harassment and trespassing. You haven't defamed anyone, Marcus said. You filed a legitimate police report about a real assault. Truth is absolute defense against defamation. Their letter is worthless. What about their $15,000 demand? We ignore it and file our own claim. He opened his laptop, began taking notes. Civil suit against both of them. Claim 1, medical expenses reimbursement, $4,200. Claim 2, emotional distress from assault. Claim 3, harassment evidenced by Saturday's incident. He paused, met my eyes. Most importantly, we file for a protective order, restraining order under Texas family violence statutes. Explain that. Texas law allows protective orders for family violence. We file showing pattern of assault and harassment. If granted, Della and Neil are prohibited from coming within 100 m of you or your property. Duration up to 2 years. Violation is criminal offense. When do we file? This week, we file first before they can file their suit. In legal battles, offense is stronger than defense. Marcus made more notes. I'll have documents ready by Wednesday. We file Thursday. They'll receive notice within a week. Court date probably mid-July. They won't like this. They'll panic. That's the point. Marcus closed his laptop. Expect retaliation, more manipulation attempts, document everything. He was right about retaliation. It came through old connections. Late May, my phone rang. Number I recognized, but hadn't heard from in months. Tom Henderson, former colleague from the community college. We taught in adjacent classrooms for years. Columbus, just checking on you. Della called me. My attention sharpened. What did she say? Tom's hesitation came through the line. She's worried about you, said you've been acting strange since Martha died. Martha, Susan's given name, though she'd always gone by Susan. Only old friends remembered Martha. Said you're having memory problems. Tom continued, that you accused her of something that didn't happen. She seemed really upset. Columbus. What do you think, Tom? I don't know, man. You sound fine to me, but she was crying. I'm fine. Della and I have family issues, but my mind is clear. What kind of issues? She hurt me during an argument. Police were involved. It's unfortunate, but my memory and judgment are sound. Brief silence. Tom processing. Okay, just wanted to check. If you need anything, I appreciate it. After he hung up, I sat thinking. Della was building a narrative. Senile father confused after wife's death, false accusations from declining mind. 2 more calls came that week. Different friends, similar stories. Each time Della had called first, expressed concern, suggested memory problems, planted doubt. Each time I responded calmly. Brief explanation of family conflict. Thanks for the concern. Didn't elaborate, didn't badmouth Della excessively. Let my clarity speak for itself. But I documented every call, who contacted me, what Della had told them, the dates and times. Sent the list to Marcus with a note. Evidence of continued harassment and reputation damage by her. Early June, Marcus called. Documents filed. Court date set for July 15th. Della and Neil will be served within 48 hours. How will they react? Depends. Their lawyer might advise settling, or they might double down. 2 days later, Marcus called again, satisfaction in his voice. They've been served, both of them. Their attorney called me angry, says you're harassing his clients, and you said, I said we'll see them in court, send him the evidence package. Marcus paused. He went quiet after seeing the police report and medical records. Called back an hour later, different tone, asked about settlement. Settlement. They dropped their demand. You drop the financial claims, but protective order stays. I considered it, thought about Della's face screaming on my lawn, the years of manipulation, the attempted will forgery. No, I want the court to see everything. You're sure? Court is public. This will be messy for everyone. I want the protective order on record. We go to court. June progressed in methodical preparation. Marcus sent me the witness list. Officer Domings would testify about the March incident. Medical records formally subpoenaed. Security footage entered as official evidence. We have a strong case, Marcus told me during a mid-June meeting. The medical evidence and police report are compelling. Judge will likely grant the protective order. Their defamation claim is baseless. You can't defame someone by reporting a real assault. I reviewed everything he sent, read through my own statement multiple times. The surreal nature of it struck me repeatedly. My daughter would sit across a courtroom, opposite side. A judge would hear how she pushed me downstairs, how she lied about it, how she'd spent months manipulating others. Last chance to settle, Marcus said near month's end. I can make calls, spare everyone the courtroom drama. I thought about it, really thought. Remembered Della's voice. I'm your only daughter. Remembered her attempting to change my will without permission. Remembered the Morrisons hearing her call them her real parents. No settlement, we go to court. Then we're ready. Late June brought one more unexpected call. Patricia Morrison, Della's mother-in-law. Her voice carried upper-class discomfort with directness. I wanted to say, what happened at dinner was unfortunate. Yes, it was. Della is family now. We support Neil, of course, but she trailed off. I wanted you to know we didn't approve of what happened that night. Thank you for calling, Mrs. Morrison. After hanging up, I understood. Even the Morrisons saw the truth. They'd witnessed the assault. They'd left rather than be involved. And now, months later, guilt prompted this careful half-apology. July approached through Austin's building heat. Summer settled heavy over the city. My house stayed cool behind new locks, cameras recording empty porches. No more visits, no more calls from Della. Just waiting. July 15th, 2 weeks away, then 1 week, then days. I reviewed every document Marcus had prepared, every photograph, every statement, every piece of evidence. Nothing left to prepare, no moves remaining until court. I sat on my back porch those final evenings, watching fireflies emerge in the dusk. The date approached like a storm on the horizon, inevitable, necessary. Everything I'd built, the evidence, the documentation, the legal protections, would be tested in a courtroom, public record, official judgment. No more private family conflict. This would be formal, witnessed, permanent. I was ready. July 15th arrived with cloudless sky and heat that promised no mercy. I dressed carefully, dark suit, pressed shirt, tie I'd worn to Susan's funeral. Respect for the court, Marcus had said. Show them you take this seriously. The folder sat on my kitchen table, copies of everything, though Marcus held the originals. I didn't need to review them. Every document memorized, every date, every detail burned into memory. Downtown Austin traffic moved slowly. I parked in the public garage, walked 3 blocks to Travis County Civil Courthouse. Security checkpoint, metal detector, professional efficiency. Found the courtroom number Marcus had texted. 3rd floor, East Wing. He waited in the corridor, briefcase in hand. Ready? Ready as I'll be. Remember, answer questions directly. Don't elaborate. Stay calm no matter what they say. Movement at the corridor's end caught my attention. Della and Neil emerged from the elevator with their lawyer, a thin man in an ill-fitting suit, Brennan from Brennan and Associates. This was the first time I'd seen Della since May. She looked different, thinner, harder. Stress carved into the lines around her mouth. Neil wore an expensive suit, maintaining appearances despite everything crumbling behind the facade. Neither looked at me. We entered the courtroom separately, taking positions on opposite sides. Judge Martha Reeves presided, a woman in her 50s with steel-gray hair and an expression that suggested she'd seen every family tragedy Austin could produce. The courtroom felt too large for our small drama. Empty gallery except for one court observer taking notes. The judge reviewed documents, then looked up. civil suit for medical expenses and request for protective order. Additionally, defendants filed counterclaim for defamation. Her voice carried no sympathy, just professional assessment. This is preliminary hearing to determine protective order and assess claims. Mr. Brennan, you may begin. Brennan stood. Your Honor, this is a family dispute blown out of proportion. My client's father had an unfortunate accident during a family gathering. He's overreacted, filed a false police report, and damaged my client's reputation through Marcus Rose. Objection. It wasn't an accident. We have evidence. I'll hear the evidence, Judge Reeves said. Mr. Chen, proceed. Marcus presented the police report first, laying it before the judge, then called Officer Domings. She entered in uniform, professional, and prepared. After the oath, she stood at the witness stand. Officer Domings, what did you observe when you arrived at the scene on March 15th? Plaintiff was on the floor with a head wound, bleeding. He reported being pushed down the stairs by a family member. Witnesses were present, daughter, son-in-law, and two others who'd left before we arrived. What was the daughter's explanation? She claimed the plaintiff was intoxicated and had fallen. Did you detect any evidence of intoxication? No alcohol odor. His account was coherent, consistent, and detailed. I documented everything as assault by family member. Injuries were consistent with a fall. We took photographs. Brennan cross-examined briefly. But you didn't witness the actual incident. No, but I documented the immediate aftermath and took statements from all parties present. Medical records came next. Emergency room treatment, concussion diagnosis, 4 nights of observation. The invoice, $4,200. Hospital photographs showed my head wound, the bruising that had taken weeks to fade. Judge Reeves reviewed them silently, her face neutral. Marcus opened his laptop. Your Honor, we have audio-video evidence from the incident. Brennan objected. This wasn't disclosed. It was in the discovery packet, item 7B, Marcus said calmly. Proceed, the judge said. The screen came to life. My doorbell camera had captured only a partial angle of the staircase, but the audio was pristine. My own voice, distant but clear. I'll bring the extra dish down. Then Della's voice, sharp and close to the camera. Move faster. Don't embarrass me in front of my real parents. The sound of impact, my grunt of pain, feet rushing then stopping. Della's voice again, louder now. He's drunk. He fell. The courtroom went silent. I watched Della's face. She'd gone pale, gripping the table edge until her knuckles whitened. Neil stared straight ahead, jaw rigid. Judge Reeves leaned forward. The audio is clear. Continue, Mr. Chen. Those words, real parents, demonstrate intent and animus, Your Honor. This wasn't an accident. Marcus played a second clip. May footage, Della shouting at my door, threatening, Neil trying to pull her away. The judge took notes, her pen moving steadily. Marcus pulled out another document. Your Honor, there's additional evidence of defendant's intent regarding plaintiff's assets. Notary records from January appeared on screen. Marcus explained the timeline. Defendant attempted to modify plaintiff's will without his knowledge or consent using an old power of attorney from an illness 2 years prior. The modification would have changed the beneficiary from a charity to the defendant. Brennan stood. Your Honor, this is irrelevant to the assault claim. Overruled. It speaks to motive and pattern of behavior. Marcus continued. These aren't isolated incidents. Verbal abuse documented on audio, physical assault with medical evidence, harassment caught on camera, attempted financial fraud through will modification. This is a pattern. I watched Della whisper urgently to Brennan. He looked defeated, shaking his head. Judge Reeves examined the documents, comparing signatures and dates, then looked directly at Della. Ms. Gibson Morrison, did you attempt to change your father's will without his authorization? Della stood, shaking. I had power of attorney. I thought power of attorney doesn't authorize will changes. You know this. Della sat without answering. I've seen enough. Judge Reeves closed the file. Based on the evidence presented, police report, medical records, audio-video documentation, and pattern of behavior, I find that the incident of March 15th was assault, not accident. Defendant's claim of defamation is dismissed. Truth is absolute defense. She continued. Protective order is granted. Defendants are prohibited from contact with plaintiff or approaching within 100 m of his residence. Duration, 2 years from today. Regarding medical expenses, defendants are jointly liable for $4,200. Payment plan available through the clerk's office. This hearing is concluded. The gavel struck. Della's face crumpled. Tears started, silent at first. Neil remained rigid, calculating something behind his eyes. I felt no triumph, just relief that it was official now, on public record. Marcus touched my arm. "Let's go." We stood. Behind us, Della's voice broke through. "Dad, please." I didn't turn around, walked out of the courtroom, Marcus beside me, leaving my daughter crying at a table where the law had just confirmed what I'd known since March. She'd assaulted me and she'd face consequences. In the corridor, Marcus exhaled. That went better than expected. What happens now? Protective order is enforceable immediately. They violate it, they're arrested. Medical expenses, they'll probably set up a payment plan. And the other thing, the trust, still doesn't know. That's separate, already done. We walked to the parking garage through Austin's brutal summer heat. I felt strange, vindicated, but empty. A judge had just ordered my daughter to stay away from me for 2 years. This was justice, but justice felt hollow. The drive home began. I knew Della wouldn't accept this quietly, not with everything she was losing, not with Neil's deadline approaching. This wasn't over. 3 days after the hearing, Marcus called. "Thought you should know. Della and Neil filed for a payment plan on the $4,200. They'll pay 12 months. Court approved it. $350 per month starting next month." Brief satisfaction touched me. Accountability, at least. "There's something else," Marcus said. "I heard through business contacts Neil's situation is worse than we knew. His loan was due end of May. He missed the payment. Bank issued a demand letter. Pay $85,000 in full within 60 days or face foreclosure." I calculated quickly. That deadline would be end of August, 3 weeks from now. The desperation made sense now, everything clicking into place. "They probably thought they'd inherit your house," Marcus continued. "Use it as collateral or cash out somehow. But the trust, they don't know about the trust yet. They might still think they have a chance." After hanging up, I sat in my kitchen, absorbing it. Their entire strategy had depended on my assets, my house, my death, or at least my cooperation, and I'd removed both possibilities without them knowing. Late July passed into early August with ordinary rhythms. Yard work, reading, quiet evenings. Security cameras recorded nothing but delivery trucks and neighbors. No activity from Della or Neil. I knew they were regrouping. The quiet felt deliberate. Marcus called occasionally. Nothing new. "They're quiet, too quiet. Maybe they've accepted reality." I didn't believe it. Checked the security camera app regularly, waiting. 1 week to Neil's deadline, then 3 days. Something had to break. August 25th, Marcus called with an update. "Your son-in-law tried to refinance, denied by 3 banks, asked his parents for help. Richard and Patricia refused, still distancing themselves from the March incident. What happens to the dealership? Officially closing. Bank scheduled asset seizure for August 31st. Personal bankruptcy, likely since the loan was personally guaranteed. And Della, married assets she's exposed to. Everything they own could be taken." I absorbed this. They had nothing left to lose now. I understand. Be careful, Columbus. Desperate people do desperate things. That protective order is paper. It doesn't physically stop them. 2 days later, August 27th, I learned what desperation looked like. Evening, I was making dinner when my phone chimed. Motion detected. I checked the feed. Della's car in my driveway. She emerged alone, walking quickly to my front door. She was violating the protective order. The doorbell rang. I stayed inside, watching her face on the camera screen. Already crying, mascara streaking. She knocked, then pounded. "Dad, please, I know you're in there." I remained silent, motionless. "I need to talk to you. Everything's falling apart." Her voice cracked. "Neil's losing everything. The bank is taking it all." Pounds on the door again, harder. "I made a mistake. I know I did, but please, you have to help us." Genuine desperation now, shaking. "If we lose everything, Neil will leave me. I'll have nothing." I watched her face on the small screen. This wasn't performance. This was real panic. "You're my father." You're supposed to help me. She was crying fully now. Please just open the door, we can fix this. I thought about March 15th, the push, the lies, the attempted theft of my will. Now she wanted help because she needed money. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about March. I panicked. Please. Still, I didn't move, didn't speak. Della realized I wasn't opening the door. Her voice changed, anger cutting through tears. Fine, be that way. You're destroying your own family. She kicked the door. Camera caught it clearly. Then she broke down, sliding to sit on the porch steps, head in hands. I picked up my phone, dialed 911. I need police. Someone is violating a protective order at my residence. I gave the address, explained the July 15th court order. The operator dispatched officers immediately. Della still sat on my porch unaware. 12 minutes later, a patrol car pulled up. 2 officers approached. She stood, began explaining. I watched through the camera, unable to hear but reading body language, pleading. The officers checked paperwork, made calls to verify the order. One officer came to my door. I answered. Mr. Gibson, we're issuing her a citation for protective order violation. Do you want to press charges beyond the citation? No, just make her leave. She'll receive a $500 fine and formal warning. Another violation could mean arrest. I nodded, watched through the window as they gave Della the paperwork. She looked at my house one final time, her face visible in the porch light, lost, desperate, defeated. The officers waited until she drove away. Then they left too. I sat in my living room, saving the security footage. Della's words echoed. You're destroying your own family, but I hadn't destroyed it. She did when she pushed me down the stairs because I embarrassed her, when she tried to steal my will, when she lied to police, to friends, to anyone who would listen. $500 wouldn't hurt them more than they were already hurting. Neil's deadline 4 days away. Marcus had been right. Desperate people do desperate things. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no regret. Just awareness that this was what justice looked like. Not dramatic, not triumphant, just consequences arriving slowly but inevitably. Della had gambled on my house and lost. Now she was losing everything else. I hadn't caused it. I just refused to be their escape plan. I looked at the calendar on my wall. August 31st circled in red. 4 days. Wondered what would happen when Neil finally lost everything, when the bank took it all, when there was nothing left. The house felt very quiet, very empty, very much mine. August 31st arrived with heat that felt personal. I sat at my kitchen table drinking coffee, tablet open to the morning news, aware that somewhere across Austin, Neil's deadline was expiring. The bank would move today. Assets seized, everything collected. My phone rang before 9:00. Marcus. Wanted to update you. Bank filed foreclosure on Neil's business assets this morning. Dealership inventory, equipment, office furnishings, everything's being seized today. I absorbed this quietly. And personally, personal guarantee means they can pursue his personal assets next. House, vehicles, anything of value. Marcus paused. There's more. I heard from Patricia Morrison's attorney. That surprised me. Why would her attorney contact you? Professional courtesy. They want official distance from this situation. He explained the Morrisons had read the public court records after July 15th. Police report, medical evidence, audio recording, everything documented and available. They're appalled by Neil's involvement in a family assault, Marcus said, quote, damaging to the Morrison family reputation. They're refusing any financial assistance. They're cutting him off, completely. Patricia's attorney made it clear. They consider the assault incident beneath their family values. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. Values mattered when reputation was at stake. They also mentioned they won't attend family events if Della's present. They're publicly distancing themselves from their daughter-in-law. I thought about March 15th, Della trying so hard to impress them, calling them her real parents. Now they'd rejected her entirely. Marcus continued. This means Neil has no help coming. He'll have to liquidate personal assets. Their house, likely. It's the only thing with equity. Pause. How do you feel about all this? I considered the question honestly. I feel nothing. I didn't cause this. I just refuse to be their solution. That's healthy. This isn't your fault, Columbus. After hanging up, I sat with the question, was any of this my fault? I hadn't caused Neil's poor business decisions, hadn't caused Della to push me downstairs, hadn't caused them to lie, manipulate, try to steal my will. I just protected myself. Yet their world was collapsing. The days that followed brought updates through Marcus's network. Early September, Neil and Della listed their house for emergency sale, price below market, desperation clear in the numbers. Within a week, they had an offer accepted immediately. Closing scheduled September 20th. After mortgage payoff, they'll clear maybe 80,000, Marcus told me. Won't be enough. Between the business loan, legal fees, court judgments, they'll still owe money. Even selling their house wouldn't save them. September 6th evening, my phone rang. Unknown number, I answered cautiously. Della's voice hysterical and barely coherent. This is all your fault, everything. You destroyed us. Della, no, listen to me. We lost the business. We're losing our house. Neil's parents won't even talk to me. Her voice cracked. His mother said I'm beneath their standards. They blame me for what happened to you. I listened, recognizing the breaking point. Neil says he should never have married me. He says I ruined his life. Sobbing now, you could have helped us. One phone call to his parents, one word from you could have fixed this. Why would I do that? Because I'm your daughter. You pushed me down the stairs. You lied to police. You tried to steal my will. I made mistakes, but you're cruel. You're destroying my life out of revenge. I'm not destroying anything. I simply protected myself. Everything else is the consequence of your choices. You're heartless. You don't care that I'm losing everything. I cared when you called me names in front of the Morrisons. I cared when you pushed me. I cared when you left me bleeding on the floor. My voice stayed level. You stopped being my daughter that day. Della sobbed, I hate you. I know. I hung up, sat in silence. No satisfaction, no guilt, just finality. September 12th, Marcus called again. Neil filed for divorce, not surprised. When? Yesterday, citing irreconcilable differences. Fast-track divorce in Texas when both parties agree. Should be final in 60 days. She agreed, apparently. Nothing left to fight over. They're both broke. Asset division will be simple. Split the house sale proceeds, each takes their own debts. Their marriage built on status and money and appearance. When those vanished, nothing remained underneath. 3 years maybe. Now dissolving. Della's moving to an apartment alone, Marcus continued. Neil's staying with a friend temporarily. The Morrison name, the social status, the money, all gone. What happens now? They rebuild separately or they don't. Either way, it's not your concern. He was right, but still, she'd been my daughter once, long ago, before Neil, before the Morrisons, before everything twisted. A little girl who'd called me daddy. That person was gone. Maybe died years ago. Maybe died on March 15th. Either way, gone. Mid-September, I sat in my house thinking about 6 months. March to September. From family dinner to complete destruction. I hadn't planned this collapse, just protected myself step by step. Changed locks, created trust, filed lawsuit, enforced boundaries. Each action defensive, not offensive. But the cumulative effect, devastation. Strange emptiness filled me, not regret. I'd do everything the same, not satisfaction. There was no joy in this, just awareness that relationships end. Sometimes violently, sometimes permanently. Mine with Della both. My phone rang, Marcus again. Final update. Trust documents are all processed and recorded. Want me to send the final copies? Yes, it's really over now. I looked around my quiet house. Yes, it is. Late September morning arrived soft and clear. I woke to sunlight through my bedroom window. The house silent around me. 6 months since March 15th, half a year. Routine carried me forward. Coffee brewing, toast, the morning paper on my tablet. Normal life, the life I'd fought to keep. The doorbell camera chimed. Delivery person, not threat. I signed for a thick certified envelope from Marcus Chen's office. Inside, complete living trust documentation, final registered copies. A cover letter in Marcus' precise handwriting. These are the official recorded documents. The trust is irrevocable and registered with Travis County. Your estate is protected. I opened the folder carefully. Page after page of legal language that meant something simple. This house was no longer mine in the traditional sense. It belonged to the trust. I could live here until I died, but after that it would be sold. Proceeds would go to Texas Advocacy Project. The beneficiary designation showed it clearly. Texas Advocacy Project Domestic Violence Services. Below that, Della Morrison, née Gibson, explicitly excluded from inheritance. I read slowly, thoroughly. It was real, permanent, finished. This house that Della had wanted desperately enough to push me downstairs for would never be hers, would instead help people she'd hurt, symbolically at least. Domestic violence victims, people like me. A second envelope sat in the package. Texas Advocacy Project letterhead. I opened it. They'd written to thank me for the planned future gift, explained their work. Emergency shelter, legal aid, counseling for survivors escaping dangerous situations. Statistics showed they helped 5,000 victims annually. Every donation meant safety and hope for someone fleeing violence. Your generosity will provide shelter and new beginnings to those who need it most. The letter concluded. Something shifted in my chest as I read. This wasn't about Della anymore. This was larger. My house, the thing she'd coveted for money and status, would serve actual purpose, would help people who'd suffered what I suffered, physical assault, family betrayal, feeling helpless. Della had reduced this house to leverage, to inheritance, to dollars. Now it meant shelter, safety, freedom. I folded the letter carefully, kept it with the trust documents. That afternoon, my phone rang. Della's number. I recognized it despite months of blocking and avoiding. Considered not answering. But curiosity, what could she possibly say now? Yes. Her voice sounded defeated, flat, all hysteria gone. I know I shouldn't call. The protective order, it's still active, I know. I needed to ask something. Long pause. Neil and I are divorced. It's final this week. I heard. I'm in an apartment, small, alone. She waited for response. I gave none. Your will, your estate is there. Could you leave me something, anything? Even now, even after everything, asking for money. No, please, I know I hurt you, but I'm your daughter, your only child. You were my daughter. On March 15th, you made a choice. You chose Neil and his parents over me. You chose money and status over family. You pushed me down the stairs and called the Morrisons your real parents. Silence then. I was scared. We needed money. You don't understand the pressure. I understand perfectly. You gambled on my house and lost. What does that mean? It means my house is mine, my estate is mine, and neither will ever be yours. You chose your path that day on the stairs. This is mine. You're really going to leave me nothing. I'm leaving my estate to people who need help. People who were hurt by their families, people like me. Silence stretched long on the line. Then Della, her voice empty and final. I see. Goodbye, Dad. She hung up before I could respond, not that I would have. I sat holding the phone, that was it. Final conversation with my daughter. She'd called me Dad at the end after everything. That word. Walked through my house, 2 stories, Hyde Park neighborhood, Austin, Texas. Bought 15 years ago with Susan. She died here 5 years ago. I'd almost lost it to our daughter this year, but it was still mine, protected, secured, meaningful. I went to my desk, pulled out an old photo album, found the picture I was looking for. Della at 7, gap-toothed smile, arms wrapped around me. Before Neil, before Morrison wealth, before everything changed. That girl was gone. I wasn't sure when she disappeared, gradually or suddenly. But she wasn't coming back. I closed the album, put it away. Some chapters end. You don't get to rewrite them. Evening brought cooler temperatures, September softening summer's edge. I made simple dinner, ate alone as I had for months. Took my coffee to the front porch. Austin sunset painted the sky orange and pink. Traffic hummed, neighbors passed. Normal evening in a normal city. I sat in my old chair, worn comfortable over years. Reviewed everything, March to September. The assault, the hospital, the lawyers, locks and cameras, courtroom and protective orders. Della's collapse, her divorce, her final call. And through it all, the trust protecting my house. Not for revenge, for justice. The difference mattered. Revenge would have been causing their suffering. Justice was preventing them from causing mine. I hadn't ruined Della's life. She'd ruined it herself when she pushed me. I just refused to be her rescue. Refused to let her steal my security. Refused to disappear for her convenience. Columbus Gibson, 64 years old, sitting on his porch watching sunset fade, felt something approaching: peace, not happiness. That might come later, might not, but peace. Deep earned real. Stars appeared over Austin as darkness settled. I thought about tomorrow, next week, next year. Years ahead probably. This house mine until I died. Then becoming something better, help for others. Della would live her life somewhere, alone, reduced, but alive. She'd survive, people do. Maybe learn, maybe not, not my concern anymore. I finished my coffee, went inside, locked the door. Habit now, necessary habit. Security camera showed empty street, quiet neighborhood, house safe, protected mine. Tomorrow I'd call Marcus, thank him for months of work. Maybe plant something in the garden. Normal tasks, normal life, finally. Tonight I would sleep. No pounding on doors, no missed calls, no threats, just silence. After 6 months of chaos, silence. It sounded like justice. If you liked this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.